Hello and welcome back to another video tutorial here at GeekatPlay Studios. My name's Gary Miller. Last couple of days I was working on a project in Photoshop trying to create realistic sci-fi textures. And in so doing, I think I stumbled upon a sort of a unique, at least it's unique to me, method on creating very realistic looking wood textures. Now I've seen lots of tutorials in the past that other people have posted on the internet on how to create wood textures, and all of them look nice, but I think by the time we're done working on this project you will agree that this is a very realistic looking wooden texture, more specifically a texture that you would see on wood siding that you would see on a house, an outbuilding, maybe a trailer or mobile home. So let's get started. I'm going to come up here to File, New, and I want high resolution for this, so I'm going to leave that at 600 and 1000 by 1000. You're certainly welcome to work in a higher resolution. You'll only get better results if you do. But for this, I'm just going to make it 1000 by 1000. I'm going to click OK. I'm going to duplicate this layer. Now, you can choose just create a new layer above it, but in order for you to successfully continue on, you're going to have to apply a color, and it doesn't matter what color, blue, green, black, white, red. You're going to have to apply a color to the layer that you are working on. So for me, it was just easier copying the background. I'm going to come down here to Filter, Stylize, and, Render, and Fiber. And I don't want the variance like this, although that does look more realistic. I want the variance to be rather low. And I'm going to bring the strength up so that I have a good uniform appearance of these fibers here. And I like that, so I'm going to click OK. Now, that's a little harsh. If these are my wood fibers, it looks to be a little much, so I'm going to hit Control L, and I'm going to bring up my darkness slider. Actually, I'm going to cancel that. I'm going to come back to Filters, and I've got too much dark here, so I'm going to run the filters, the fiber again. And let's do a randomize. I think this might yield better results, though we do have a lot of black in there. Let's see what happens when we bring up, no, we're going to have to come back to Render and to Fibers. I'm going to have to bring up my variance a little bit. I think that is more uniform now. Click OK to that. Yeah, okay. Control L to bring up my levels. And I'm going to bring up my levels until I have a smaller distribution of these white streaks. That's just far too much. And I think that looks good. I'm going to click OK. Now, as soon as I clicked OK, a whole bunch more creeped in, and that'll be all right. I'm going to come over here to Edit, Transform, and I want to rotate it horizontally. Now I'm going to come up here to Filter, Stylize, and I want to add an emboss effect to this. Now the height I want down very low because I think that will be more realistic. Maybe 2 or 3. I think I'll go with 2. And the amount I will bring down, looks to be about 30 will work nicely. Let me zoom in here. Okay, I like that. Now, depending upon the display, how much grain you have, if you don't have enough, you can duplicate your layer, rotate it horizontally, and then rotate it vertically. In fact, I'll show you. Flip horizontally, transform, flip vertically, and then come down here to overlay, and it gives you twice as much. But I don't want twice as much. I think that is more than enough, so I'll just go with one layer of this wood grain. And I'm going to merge all that. This will now be my background. I'm going to create a no, I'm not going to create a new layer above it. I'm going to come into Adobe Bridge, and I want to find a material that is a seamless material. And I think I found one from sharecg.com, so I'm going to use that one. And if you don't have any materials like this, you can find them all over the internet. So I'm going to place this rusted metal right over my wood texture and resize it. And just to show you that it is a repeating texture, I'm going to come here to offset 200, 200, and as you see, no matter what I do, you don't see any seams on this texture, which is what I want. Now I'm going to come up here to darken, and I'm just going to play with my layers until I find something that discolors it nicely and makes it look like wood. Even though it is a rust material, and I kind of like multiply. That adds a nice look to it. Let's come down a little further and try some other layer styles. Actually, maybe overlay is nicer. You know what, I think I'm going to go with soft light. And now we need to find another one and start building up our layers. Because the more layers you have, the more complex your material will appear. And this looks to be another non-border material, or a repeating material. So I will stick this on there, and let's play with our layer styles here and see what other combinations we can come up with. I like soft light, except I don't like the look of this, so what I will do is come up to filter, blur, motion blur. I will use this last layer that we used only for its color. I don't need the texture that's applied that it has. I want its color values, because it'll make it look like old, weathered wood. Okay, I like that. Now above all this, I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm going to grab my paintbrush, and it doesn't matter what color you use to paint this with. You can use white, green, purple, whatever. I'm going to hold down Shift, and I'm just going to draw some horizontal lines across my image. Hold down Shift, I'm going to hold down the left mouse button. Now I'll hold Shift, hold down left mouse button, press Shift, left mouse button, press Shift, and that will work. Okay, I'm going to come up here to Filter, Stylize, and I'm going to add, let me zoom in on this, Stylize, Emboss, and I'm going to add an embossing effect to this, which will give it a good appearance of paneling. And play with your amounts however you like. Now I'm going to come down here to the layer styles for that particular layer and just play with some of the options here until I come up with something that I like. An overlay looks nice. Something else that looks good is hard light. Let me back up a little bit. Maybe not hard light. because I don't like that it's so white down there. Maybe I'll go with overlay. I think maybe that looks more natural, as though the sun is coming straight down. And in most renders that you do in View or any other program, your sun is above the object that you are rendering. So the fact that we have shadow here represented by this dark area and lightness here or highlight here represented by this sort of white area, this white line, this makes it a very usable texture to use in most instances, in most situations. So I think this is a very realistic looking wood material, and the more layers that you build up on this will only increase its realism and its more weathered appearance. So I hope this little tutorial is helpful for you for creating your own custom textures in Photoshop for all your View renders. So thanks for watching here at GeekatPlay Studios. My name is Gary Miller. Have a good day.